So your midterm exam or your semester 1 exam is a total of 50 questions. You'll have 35 questions that are multiple choice, 15 short answer. Okay, so for your updated review, your first question tells you to evaluate the expression 3x plus 14 if x is equal to -9. So you're just plugging in that -9 for x and simplifying. So that's going to give us 3 times -9 plus 14. Your 3 times -9 gives you -27 plus 14, which is just -13. For number 2, you're told to simplify 2x to the -3rd power y to the 6th power all raised to the 2nd power times 2x to the -3rd power y to the 6th power all raised to the -2nd power. That power of -2 brings that second set of parentheses down. So you're going to have 2x to the -3rd y to the 6th all raised to the 2nd power over 2x to the -3rd y to the 6th now raised to the positive 2nd power. Because you have the same exact thing over itself, they cancel out, and your answer is just your 1. For number 3, you are simplifying the cube root of 81 x to the 7th y squared. This is the same exact thing as saying take the cube root of 81 times the cube root of x to the 7th times the cube root of y squared. Your cube root of 81, that 81 is 9 times 9, and 9 is 3 and 3. You're grouping up a set of 3 numbers, so that 3 that's left over stays underneath. One of those pulls out to give you 3 cube root 3. The cube root of your x to the 7th, 7 divided by 3 is 2. So that's x squared times the cube root of the 1x that's left over. And that cube root of y squared has to stay the cube root of y squared. You're going to multiply all this together. Anything that's on the outside stays on the outside. Anything on the inside multiplies together. From here, you're going to have 3x squared times the cube root of 3xy squared. For number 4, you're evaluating the expression 8x to the -3rd y squared when x is equal to -2 and y is equal to 1. So that's going to give us 8 times x, which we said is -2 to the -3rd power, times y, which is 1 to the 2nd power. Your -3 as that power on the 2 brings that -2 cubed down. So it's going to be 8 times 1 squared over -2 to the 3rd power. That 1 squared is just 1, so that's 8 times 1. On the bottom, that -2 cubed is -8. So you're going to have 8 over -8, which is just -1. For number 5, you are rationalizing your denominator. You're given 3 over 4 minus the square root of 2. You're going to put parentheses around your denominator and change it to be the conjugate. So it's going to be 4 plus the square root of 2. And you're going to multiply that 4 plus the square root of 2 on both the top and the bottom. So you're going to distribute that 3 into your 4 plus the square root of 2 on the top to give you 12 plus 3 square root 2. On the bottom, you're going to FOIL that out. So 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times the square root of 2 is positive 4 square root 2. Negative square root 2 times 4 is -4 square root 2. And negative square root 2 times negative square root 2 is negative square root 4. You're going to simplify this by canceling out your 4 square root 2 minus 4 square root 2 on the bottom. That square root of 2, or sorry, square root of 4 is actually 2. So this becomes 12 plus 3 square root 2 all over 16 minus 2. Your 16 minus 2 is 14, so that gives you 12 plus 3 square root 2 all over 14. number 6, you are simplifying 9x squared minus 7x plus 13 minus negative 4x squared minus 8x minus 19. First thing you're going to do is distribute that negative into your second set of parentheses. And that'll give you 9x squared minus 7x plus 13 plus 4x squared plus 8x plus 19. Your 9x squared and your 4x squared are like terms, so you combine them to get 13x squared. Your negative 7x and your 8x are like terms, to combine those to get x. And your 13 plus 19 gives you 32. So altogether, that's 13x squared plus x plus 32. For your next question, number 7, you are simplifying 3x to the 4th power times 2x minus 1. We're just going to distribute that 3x to the 4th power in. So that'll give us 6x to the 5th power minus 3x to the 4th power. For number 8, you have 3x minus 4y times 5x plus 2. You're going to FOIL this out. So 3x times 5x is 15x squared. 3x times 2 is 6x. Negative 4y times 5x is negative 20xy. And negative 4y times 2 is negative 8y. There are no like terms here, so there's nothing to combine, and that is your answer. For number 9, you have x plus 2 cubed. You can rewrite this to be x minus 2 times x minus 2 times x minus 2. You're going to FOIL out the last two to give yourselves x minus 2 times x squared minus 4x plus 4. Then you're going to take the x in the x minus 2 and distribute it in. Take the negative 2 in the x minus 2, distribute it in, and combine like terms. So that'll give you x cubed minus 4x squared plus 4x minus 2x squared plus 8x minus 8. Combining like terms, your x cubed drops down. Your negative 4x squared minus 2x squared is negative 6x squared. 4x plus 8x is 12x. And then your negative 8 drops down. So it's x cubed minus 6x squared plus 12x minus 8. In number 10, you are simplifying x squared minus 3x minus 40 over x squared minus 7x minus 8. You are going to factor both the top and the bottom of this and then cancel out anything that is the same on both the top and the bottom. So your factors of negative 40 on the top that add to be negative 3 are negative 8 and positive 5. So that's x minus 8 times x plus 5. On the bottom, your factors of negative 8 that add to be negative 7 are negative 8 and positive 1. So that's going to give you x minus 8 times x plus 1. Your x minus 8 cancels on the top and the bottom to leave you with just x plus 5 over x plus 1. For number 11, you are simplifying x over 2 minus 2 over x minus 4. This is the same thing as saying x over 2 minus 2 over 1 divided by x minus 4 over 1. You have to simplify within the first set of parentheses first, and you need like denominators to do so. So we're going to multiply the second fraction by 2 on both the top and the bottom. That'll give you x minus 4 all over 2 divided by x minus 4 over 1. You're going to keep the first fraction, change to multiplication, and flip the second fraction. So that's x minus 4 over 2 times 1 over x minus 4. Your x minus 4 is the same on both the top and the bottom of opposite fractions. So this is going to multiply straight across to give you 1 times 1, which is 1, over 2 times 1, which is 2. So 1/2 is your answer. For number 12, you're finding the distance between negative 9, 2 and 3, 7. If you remember, your distance formula is the square root of x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. If your -9, 2 is your x1 and your y1, that means 3, 7 is your x2 and your y2. That's going to give you the square root of 3 minus -9 squared plus 7 minus 2 squared. Double negatives turn into positives, so that's going to give you the square root of 12 squared plus 5 squared, which is the square root of 144 plus 25. Leaving you with your distance is the square root of 169, which is 13. For your next question, you're finding the midpoint between 4, -2 and 8, 6. Your midpoint formula is taking the sum of your x values divided by 2, comma, the sum of your y values divided by 2. Remember, this is an ordered pair, so you should have parentheses around both numbers, and they should be separated by a comma. So if your 4, -2 is your x1 and your y1, that means 8, 6 is your x2 and your y2. So that's going to give you 4 plus 8 over 2 for your x2, or x1 plus x2 over 2, and -2 plus 6 over 2 for your y1 plus y2 over 2. This will simplify to give you 12 over 2 and 4 over 2, which gives you your midpoint of 6, 2. For 14, you're finding the center and the radius from the equation of the circle x minus 3 squared plus y plus 2 squared is equal to 121. Your center is your h and your k, and your equation is in the form of x minus h squared plus y minus k squared, and your radius is the square root of your answer, so the square root of 121. So your your h, which is your x value in your center, is 3. Your k, which is your y value in your center, is going to be -2. And then r squared is 121. So you'll take the square root of that 121, giving you r is 11. So your center is the ordered pair 3, -2, and your radius is 11. For 15, you're finding your x and y intercepts from f of x is equal to 3x minus 8. To find your x-intercept, you're going to plug in 0 for y, solve for x, and then give the ordered pair something comma 0. So that means you're going to have 0 is equal to 3x minus 8. Add your 8 over to get 3x is equal to 8. Divide each side by the 3, and you have that x is 8/3. So your x-intercept is the ordered pair 8 over 3 comma 0. To find your y-intercept, you're going to plug in 0 for x, solve for y, then give the ordered pair something, or 0 comma something. So that's going to give you y is equal to 3 times 0 minus 8. That 0 times 3 cancels out to give you y is equal to -8. Leaving you with a y-intercept of 0, -8. Your next question tells you to graph the equation of the circle x plus 1 squared plus y minus 4 squared is equal to 16. This gives you a center of the ordered pair -1, 4, and a radius of 4, because remember we take the square root of that 16. So you're going to first plot your center point, then you're going to use your radius to get the 4 additional points, which are the outside of your circle, then draw your line to make your circle. So your center point is at -1, 4, which is the ordered pair that's here. From there, you have your outside or exterior points that are 4 spaces away from your center. From there, you draw your circle through the points, making it the best circle that you possibly can. Mine is not that great, but you get the idea. Your next example, number 17, tells you to write the equation of the line that passes through negative 2, 6, and is perpendicular to the line f of x is equal to 4x plus 9. Your slope of that 4x plus 9 is 4. So the perpendicular slope is going to be negative 1/4. So you have that as well as your x1, which is negative 2, and your y1, which is 6. We want the line in slope-intercept form because that's what our answer choices are going to be in the form of. So we're going to first use point-slope form and then turn that into slope-intercept form. So using point-slope form, we have y minus y1, which we said is 6, is equal to our slope, which is negative 1/4, times x minus x1, which is negative 2. Double negatives turn to positives. So you have y minus 6 is equal to negative 1/4 times x plus 2. You're going to distribute that negative 1/4 into that x plus 2 to give you y minus 6 is equal to negative 1/4 x minus 1/2, because 2 over 4 simplifies to be 1/2. You're then going to add your 6 over, which is the same thing as 12 over 2. So remember, you need like denominators for you to add or subtract fractions. And that'll give you y is equal to negative 1/4 x plus 11 over 2. For number 18, you're finding the domain of the function f of x is equal to 3x minus 2 over the square root of x minus 4. Because you have the square root and it's in the denominator, you're going to take the part that's underneath the square root, which is that x minus 4, and set it greater than 0. Move your 4 over by adding it to both sides, and you have that x is greater than 4. If you were to graph this, because your answers are going to be in interval notation, on your 4, you're going to have an open circle, and your line's going to go to the right, which means your domain is the set of numbers from 4 to infinity, not including that 4. For 19, you're simplifying the expression f of x is equal to 3x over 2x minus 5 for f of x plus 1. So anywhere you see the x, you're going to replace it with the x plus 1. So that's going to give us 3 times x plus 1 over 2 times x plus 1 minus 5. The 3 times x plus 1 is going to give you 3x plus 3. The 2 times x plus 1 is 2x plus 2 minus 5. On the bottom, your like terms simplify to give you 3x plus 3 over 2x minus 3 for your answer. For 20, you're finding the average rate of change or slope for the function f of x is equal to x squared minus 2x plus 3 if your x1 is 4 and your x2 is negative 1. So we're first going to find our y when x1 is equal to 4. So that's going to give us y is equal to 4 squared minus 2 times 4 plus 3. That's going to give you 16 minus 8 plus 3, which is 8 plus 3, giving you y is 11 when x is 4. So that's the ordered pair for 11. If your x2 is negative 1, that's going to give you y is equal to negative 1 squared minus 2 times negative 1 plus 3. So that's going to simplify to be 1 plus 2 plus 3. That's 3 plus 3, giving you that y is 6 when x is negative 1. So that's negative 1, 6 for your ordered pair. You're finding the average rate of change, so you're going to use the same formula to find your slope. So that means you're going to do your y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So you're going to have negative 1 minus 4 over, y2, not x2, y2. So that's 6 minus 11 over negative 1 minus 4. So this will simplify to give you -5 over -5, which gives you your average rate of change of 1. For your next question, your function that you are graphing should have been f of x is equal to x minus 1 squared plus 2. So this power should be a 2, not a 1. You're going to plug in x values and solve for y. So we're going to use -1, 0, 1, 2, 3. So we're going to have y is equal to x minus 1 squared plus 2. And we plug those in to get y. So what's going to give us -1 minus 1 squared plus 2. That's -2 squared, which is 4, plus 2 is 6. Then that's 0 minus 1 squared plus 2. So -1 squared is 1, plus 2 is 3. Then we have 1 minus 1 squared plus 2. 0 squared plus 2 is 2. Then 2 minus 1 squared plus 2 is 1 squared. That's 1, plus 2 is 3. And 3 minus 1, which is 2 squared, that's 4, plus 2 is 6. So we're going to plot these points, -1, 6, 0, 3, 1, 2, 2, 3, and 3, 6. So this line's going to curve and go up to the left. Curve, go up to the right as well. So it'll look like a U. For number 22, it asks you to state the increase and the decrease from the given graph. Remember, your increase is the x values, or are the x values, where your line is going up from left to right. Your decrease are the x values where your line goes down from left to right. In this case, you also have a constant, which are the x values where your line is flat from left to right. So if we go to state your increase, again, those are the x values where your line goes up from left to right, which you have 2 of. So we're going from -infinity to -4 with the parentheses since we have an open circle. And then we have a union from 2 with a bracket since there's a closed circle to infinity. Now your decrease for this exact function, or piecewise function, would be none, because there are no places where those lines are going down from left to right. Yes, you have a downward arrow on the far left side of your graph, but that line is going up from left to right because you're reading these lines like you read a sentence, from left to right. Your next question tells you to graph the piecewise function f of x is equal to x plus 1 if x is greater than 1, and f of x is equal to 2 if x is less than or equal to 0. So we're going to form 2 function tables. One that's first, starting at 0, and the numbers that are greater than 0, so that's 1, 2, 3, and so on. We're going to be working with the function x plus 1, or y is equal to x plus 1, and we're going to be solving for y. So if we plug these values in, we have 0 plus 1, 1 plus 1, 2 plus 1, and 3 plus 1, giving us 1, 2, 3, and 4. So if we plot these ordered pairs, making sure that this 0, 1 is an open circle, since our sign does not have a line on the bottom of it, which means it does not include. We're going to have an open circle at 0, 1. Then we have 1, 2, 2, 3, and 3, 4. We're going to keep this line going so that way it covers our entire coordinate plane. And then we're going to move on to our next function, which is that f of x is equal to 2 if x is less than or equal to 0. So we're going to do things, values like -3, -2, -1, and 0. This 0 is going to be closed. And we have y is equal to 2. So it does not matter what our x value is, our y value is going to be 2 for all of these ordered pairs. So we're going to start at 0, 2, closed circle. Then we have -1, 2, -2, 2, -3, 2, and so on to -infinity. So it's going to be a flat, straight line to the left. For your next 5 questions, you are going to be using 3x minus 7 for f of x and x plus 9 for g of x. You're going to be finding f plus g of x, f minus g of x, f times g of x, f minus g of negative 2, and f of g of x. So starting with the f plus g of x, we're going to take f of x and add it with g of x. So that means we're just going to have 3x minus 7 plus x plus 9. You have addition between your two parentheses, so just get rid of the parentheses and combine like terms. So it's 3x minus 7 plus x plus 9. Your 3x and your x are like terms. They give you 4x. Your negative 7 plus 9 is 2. So that's 4x plus 2 for that f plus g of x. For the f minus g of x, we're going to take f of x and subtract g of x from it. So that means we're going to have 3x minus 7 minus x plus 9. Your negative is going to distribute into that x plus 9 to give you 3x minus 7 minus x minus 9. 3x minus x is 2x, and negative 7 minus 9 is negative 16. So it's 2x minus 16. For your next one, we're taking f of x and we're multiplying it by g of x. So f of x times g of x. So that means we're going to do 3x minus 7 times x plus 9. Your 3x times x is 3x squared. 3x times 9 is 27x. Negative 7 times x is negative 7x. And negative 7 times 9 is negative 63. Combine your like terms, and you're going to have 3x squared plus 20x minus 63. Next, you have f minus g of negative 2. This is the same thing. It's taking f of x minus g of x, which we did on that second one, and then just plugging negative 2 in for x. So technically, you can take that 2 times x, which is negative 2, minus 16. Get negative 4 minus 16, which is negative 20. For your last one, dealing with your f of x and your g of x, you're taking f of g of x. So you're going to take g of x and plug it in for x and f of x. So that means you're taking really f of x x plus 9. So your f of x we said was 3x minus 7. So that's going to be 3 times x plus 9 minus 7. Distribute your 3 in. You get 3x plus 27 minus 7. Combine your like terms, and that's 3x plus 20. Your next question, number 25, tells you to simplify 9 minus I times 5 plus 2I. Remember, I squared here is negative 1. So you're just going to FOIL this out. Your 9 times 5 is 45. 9 times 2i is 18i. Negative I times 5 is negative 5i. And negative I times 2i is negative 2i squared. That I squared is going to cancel out, turn that negative 2 into a positive 2. You're also going to combine your like terms. So 45 plus 2 is 47. And 18i minus 5i gives you 13i. So 47 plus 13i is your answer for this one. For 26, you are simplifying 4 minus the square root of 9 minus 7i plus 3. You're going to simplify inside that first set of parentheses first with that square root of 9 equaling 3. So that's 4 minus 3 minus 7i plus 3. Your 4 minus 3 is 1 minus 7i plus 3. You're going to combine your like terms, write your answer in a plus bi form. 1 plus 3 gives you 4 minus 7i. For number 27, you are graphing the function f of x is equal to x squared minus 1. Again, you're going to pick x values, plug them in, solve for y. So we're going to do, let's do negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. So we have y is equal to x squared minus 1. we're going to find for y. So we're going to have negative 2 squared, which is 4, minus 1 is 3. Negative 1 squared, which is 1, minus 1 is 0. 0 squared minus 1 is negative 1. 1 squared minus 1 gives us 0. And 2 squared minus 1 is 3. So we are going to graph these ordered pairs. Negative 2, 3 is here. Then negative 1, 0 is here. 0, negative 1. 1, 0, and 2, 3. So this curves and goes up to the left and the right, so it's going to look like a U. For your next one, you are using long division to divide x cubed plus 5x squared plus 8x minus 9 by x plus 1. Your x cubed plus 5x squared plus 8x minus 9 is in standard form, and you will have all of your powers from highest to lowest. So we're going to put that x plus 1 on the outside. On the inside, you'll have your x cubed plus 5x squared plus 8x minus 9. Your x multiplies by x squared. Let's do it in a different color. X squared to give you x cubed. That x squared times 1 is just x squared. You're going to subtract these, distribute your sign. Your x cubes cancel. 5 minus 1 is 4, x squared. And that 8x drops down. You start all over again. Your x times 4x gives you 4x squared. And 4x times 1 is 4x. You're going to subtract these, distribute your negative. Your 4x squareds are going to cancel. 8x minus 4x is 4x. And that negative 9 drops down. From here, your x times 4 is 4x. 4 times 1 is 4. Subtract these, distribute your negative, and you have a remainder of negative 13. So your answer choices on your exam are going to look similar to what your actual answer is here, with your remainder over what you divided by. So that's just that x squared plus 4x plus 4 plus negative 13 over x plus 1. For your next one, you're using synthetic division to divide. So you have 14 plus 8x cubed minus 6x plus 9x squared divided by x minus 2. That x minus 2 gets set equal to 0, and you solve it to where x is 2. So that's going to be your outside number. On the inside, you have to put that 14 plus 8x cubed minus 6x squared plus 9x in standard form. So that 8x cubed goes down first, then that 9x squared minus 6x plus 14. So you're going to have 8, 9, negative 6, and 14 on your inside. Drop your 8 down. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 9 is 25. 25 times 2 gives you 50, minus 6 is 44, times 2 is 88, plus the 14 is going to give you 102. That 102 is your remainder, the 44 is your constant, 25 gets an x, and 8 gets x squared to give you 8x squared plus 25x plus 44 plus 102 over x minus 2. For number 30, you are solving x squared minus 8x plus 12 by factoring. Your factors of 12 that add to be negative 8 are negative 2 and negative 6. So this is going to give you x minus 2 times x minus 6 is equal to 0. Your x minus 2 gets set equal to 0, and your x minus 6 gets set equal to 0. Add your 2 over. You have x is 2. Move your 6 over. You have x is 6. You did give away the fact that you have 2 answers here is your power of 2 in your question. If you're not giving me 2 answers for this, you know that something's wrong. For 31, you are solving using square roots. You're given x plus 9 squared is equal to 6. For this one, you're going to start by just taking the square root of both sides. Remember, when you do that with any equation, that plus or minus has to go in front. So you're going to have x minus 9 is equal to plus or minus the square root of 6. That square root of 6 does not simplify, so you're going to leave it as that plus or minus the square root of 6. From here, move your 9 over to isolate your x, and that's x is 9 plus or minus the square root of 6. For number 32, you are solving by completing the square. You have x squared plus 8x plus 9, or sorry, minus 9 is equal to 0. First thing you're going to do here is move that constant over, so you're going to add that 9 over. That'll give you x squared plus 8x plus something, that's what you're finding, is equal to 9. To find that something, you're going to do b over 2 squared. Your b is 8, so that's 8 over 2 squared, which is 4 squared, giving you 16. That 16 is going to add to both sides of your equation. So that means you're going to have x squared plus 8x plus 16 is equal to 9 plus 16. Factor the left side, add the right side. The number that you squared is what that left side is going to factor to. So that's x plus 4 squared is equal to 9 plus 16, which is 25. You're going to take the square root of both sides, and that'll give you x plus 4 is equal to plus or minus 5. Now you're going to separate this into two equations. One that is the x plus 4 is equal to 5, and one that's x plus 4 is equal to negative 5. If your square root of 25 did not simplify to be a number, then you would have to leave it as the plus or minus the square root of whatever it is simplified. From here, move that 4 over on both of these by subtracting it, and you should get that x is 1 and x is negative 9. For 33, you're solving using your quadratic formula. You're given 2x squared minus 3x minus 8 is equal to 0. So your a is 2, b is negative 3, and c is negative 8. Remember, your quadratic formula is x is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c all over 2 times a. So that means you're going to have the opposite of negative 3 plus or minus the square root of negative 3 squared minus 4 times 2 times negative 8 all over 2 times 2. So your double negatives with that 3 are going to turn that into a positive 3. Your negative 3 squared is 9. Your negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Times negative 8 is positive 64. And that 2 times 2 is 4. So this is going to simplify to give you 3 plus or minus the square root of 9 plus 64, which is 73, all over 4. That square root of 73 does not simplify, so you're going to leave it in that. For 34, you're solving 2 over x squared plus 3 over x plus 1 is equal to 0. Your greatest common factor for your denominator, or your least common denominator, sorry. Your least common denominator is x squared. So you're going to multiply everything by x squared. And that's going to give you 2 plus 3x plus x squared is equal to 0. I don't like the way this is written, so I'm going to rearrange it and put it in standard form. So we're going to have x squared plus 3x plus 2 is equal to 0. Your factors of 2 that add to be 3 are 2 and 1. So that's going to give you x plus 2 times x plus 1 is equal to 0. Set your x plus 2 equal to 0. Set your x plus 1 equal to 0. Solve them both. Move your 2 over by subtracting it. Move your 1 over by subtracting it. You get negative 2 and 1 for your answers. For 35, you have x over x squared minus 4 plus 2 over x minus 2 is equal to 1. Your greatest common factor, or your least common denominator, sorry, for all three of your terms is that x squared minus 4, which is the same thing as x minus 2 times x plus 2. So that x is going to multiply by 1, that 2 multiplies by x plus 2, and that 1 multiplies by x squared minus 4. So that's going to give you x plus 2x plus 4 is equal to x squared minus 4. Combine your like terms on the left side to give yourself 3x plus 4 is equal to x squared minus 4. We're going to move everything onto the same side as that x squared so it stays positive. So we're going to move the 3x over by subtracting it from both sides. We're also going to move the 4 over by subtracting it from both sides. So that'll give you x squared minus 3x minus 8 is equal to 0. Now, your factors of 8 are 1 and 8, 2 and 4. None of those will combine to give you that negative 3, so you're going to have to use either your quadratic formula or you're completing the square method in order to solve this. I wouldn't use completing the square because your b term is not an even number, so I would use your quadratic formula. So you're going to have x is equal to the opposite of negative 3 plus or minus the square root of negative 3 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 8 all over 2 times 1. This will simplify to give you 3 plus or minus the square root of 9 plus 32 all over 2, which is then 3 plus or minus the square root of 41 all over 2. For 36, you are solving negative 9 is less than x plus 4, which is less than or equal to 3. Now, your question on your exam will be just like this, and it's going to be a short answer question. It does not ask you for interval notation. It does not ask you to graph it, none of it. So you're just solving it. So you can give me your answer as a compound inequality just like this. So I'm going to separate it, then bring it back together. I'm going to have negative 9 is less than x plus 4, as well as x plus 4 is less than or equal to 3. For the negative 9 is less than x plus 4, I'm going to move the 4 over, subtracting it from both sides to give me negative 13 is less than x. So from here, you're moving that 4 over, subtracting it, and it gives you x is less than or equal to negative 1. So your negative 13 goes on the left, x is in the middle, negative 1 on the right. Your sign is open to the x between the negative 13 and the x. And between the x and the negative 1, it's open to the negative 1. For number 37, you are using your remainder theorem to find f of negative 2 in f of x is equal to x cubed plus 3x squared minus 7x minus 2. So that negative 2 is going to go on the outside. Your 1, 3, negative 7, and negative 2 goes on the inside. Drop your 1 down. 1 times negative 2 is negative 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. 1 times negative 2 again, negative 2. Negative 7 minus 2 is negative 9. Negative 9 times negative 2 is positive 18. 18 minus 2 is 16. Your remainder is your answer. So f of negative 2 is 16. Number 38 tells you to find the inverse of the function f of x is equal to 3x minus 1. Remember, with these, you're writing your answer as f to the negative 1 of x. At the same time, you are switching your x and your y, then resolving for y. So here's going to be x is equal to 3y minus 1. We're going to add our 1 over to get 3y is equal to x plus 1. Then you're going to divide each side by the 3. Remember, each term gets divided by 3 to have y is equal to 1/3 x plus 1/3. This is not your answer. Your answer is f to the negative 1 of x is equal to 1/3 x plus 1/3. For 39, you are going to be given two functions and asked if they are inverses of one another. The first you have is f of x is equal to 3x plus 2. The second you have g of x is equal to x minus 3 over 3. I would take f of x, plug in 2 for x, and simplify. Whatever you get from that, plug it in for g of x. If you get what the 2 is, you have inverses. If not, you don't have inverses. So if we first find f of 2, we're going to have 3 times 2 plus 2, which is 6 plus 2, giving us f of 2 is 8. From here, we're going to find g of 8. If we're left with 2, they're inverses. G of 8 gives us 8 minus 3 over 3 which is 5 over 3. 5 over 3 is not 2. So these two are not inverses. For your last question, you have 8 minus 5i plus 2i minus 11. You're going to combine like terms here since there's just addition between the two sets of parentheses. So your 8 minus 11 is going to give you negative 3. And your negative 5i plus 2i is negative 3i.